Hi, I'm Colette and I'm here today from Witch Ways to talk to you about mirror magic. Mirror magic has lots of uses, and so it's important to work with the ones that resonate with you. Start simple and build your way up. Enjoy. Mirrors can be tricky, and I'm going to share some tips for warding and protecting in a little bit to work with them safely. I find it safer to work with mirrors if you cast a circle first, but that's totally up to you. I know not everyone does. I'm going to share a few ideas that are not typical of the way that people work with mirror magic. So the first one is a spell to sweeten your path. And to do that, place a small mirror flat and hold a vision of yourself and whatever you are working on being easy and wonderful. Then just scatter some rose petals across the surface of the mirror and out a little bit over the edge to signify your path. And then light a candle to activate the spell and let it burn all the way out. I just made a short on agrimony, and I wanted to share a mirror spell that calls on agrimony's powers to repel any negative magic coming at you. On a plate or a tray, lay out agrimony leaves in a circle. Place a mirror in the center. You can add a knife to represent strong boundaries if you want, or bones for calling in the powers of earth, animals, or ancestors. Add a candle and let it burn all the way out. To do this, you really want to have some precautions in place. For this technique, you cast a very firm circle around yourself and you say something like, I only want information that is for my best self. I only want information about myself that comes directly from the guides and deities that love me beyond all reason, and be really clear about that. You might even want to cast a circle of salt around yourself as extra protection. Clear the space and then light a candle. Turn out the lights in a semi-dark room and stare into the mirror. Let your gaze soften and ask to see former lives. Don't look directly in the mirror, but kind of keep your eyes half open. Slowly in your mind's eye or in the mirror, see an image and try to just notice, do I have a good feeling about that life? What's my initial impression? And then if you're skilled, and that's good, that's enough right there. But if you're skilled, you can ask questions like, what information is there for me in my current life from this life? And let information come up through you. That's way more advanced. The other thing that you can do is use a pendulum to find out if there are issues from a past life that are affecting your current life. Use it to get a yes or no answer on each life if there is something from that life that you need to work with in this life. And then you'll have to do a separate reading or get some guidance from somebody who's very skilled at getting information about what might be going on with that life. The other thing I'll say about mirrors, which applies to divining with them as well, is that mirrors are portals to other realms, and you don't always know what's on the other side of that portal. So a lot of people like to do a process of protecting their mirrors, and they might do that by taking full moon water and tracing a pentacle with a circle around it on the mirror itself. Or on the back of the mirror, they might find a protective rune, sigil, or symbol of some kind and paint it on the back of the mirror. You can use mirrors from craft stores. Always clear mirrors before use. In fact, you should clear any of your tools that you've got before you use them. So for divination, you can use a few different methods. And the first one is a method that I described in a scrying video that I talked about in YouTube, and I will put the link to that video in the descriptions. A different method of scrying using a mirror is to use a black mirror. And I want to say before I start that the use of mirrors for divination comes from the very, very old tradition of staring into a pool of water and letting images arise up to the surface of the pool that then you note and later interpret. So you can buy a black mirror online. These were popular during Victorian times, but they were used in Europe as early as the 1500s. And you can buy them, as I said, but it might be cheaper to make them. And the way that you make them is to find an old picture frame that has glass and a backboard on it. Then you paint the frame, you paint the backboard with black paint, and you paint the glass. You have to take it all apart to do this. Paint them all separately, let them dry. The glass might need a couple of coats. Then when you reassemble, place the painted surface of the glass facing away from you, facing towards the back of the frame, so that the shiny, unpainted surface of the glass is facing towards you. Then you'll have a shiny, reflective surface. To get images in the mirror itself, cast and call, maybe lay down some salt or herbs for extra protection, clear your space, and then angle the mirror so that it doesn't reflect your face, that it mostly just reflects nothing. This should be done in a dark room. Then you want to place 2 candles, one to either side of the mirror, just outside the visual picture of the mirror so that you can't see the flames reflected, but a little bit forward of the mirror so that the wavering light creates images on the mirror. Then take your time, ask your question, make sure you know who you're asking the question of. Deity is always a safe bet if you work with deities. Notice what comes up for you, either that you see with your eyes, and it helps to slowly kind of half close your eyes a little bit so you have fuzzy vision. Notice what comes up on the surface of the mirror you see with your eyes, or notice what comes up inside you as images as you're doing the process. The important thing with this kind of divination is not to edit, to stop when you feel done and your mind starts to wander, write down what you got, let it set, and then come back later to interpret it. The thing that you do with interpretation with images is you try and take each one and see how it relates to the question you ask. It might be emotional. It might be like, I saw something that seemed dangerous. That means that there's a property about your question. There's some danger that needs to be avoided. Try and establish a storyline about the images that came up and just create a short paragraph that is a linear story, and then tell that story and ask yourself, how does this story relate to the question and information I needed? Another thing that you might do that might be helpful is to burn some herbs just outside the range of the mirror so that smoke is drifting across, and that can really help you with seeing images and up your game with that as well. Mirrors have been made traditionally of many metals: bronze, silver, gold, all kinds of things. Another method I use is to put a sheer piece of cloth over the mirror to help me visualize and hold the idea that I am peering beyond the veil to get intuitive and magical information. Let me know in the comments if you work with mirrors and what you think about it. I would love it if you would check out my Patreon site. Thank you all for watching. So until next time, stay safe and be